Mr. Alex do something.
Welcome to the Think Generation of Wealth podcast, and this is episode number 125. I am your host, Amir Estimo. Thank you for tuning in today's podcast episode, because you can be doing anything in this world, but the fact that you are listening to this podcast episode, it is much appreciated. Second of all, please rate and subscribe the podcast wherever you get your podcast, whether it's Apple, Spotify. On Apple, if you click on the podcast and you go all the way down, you should be able to see review. You can leave a review, whether it's 1 star, 5 star, whatever it is. I appreciate it because it's only going to make us better. And please like and share the podcast if you really enjoy the content, because our mission is to get 10,000 downloads. We already got 7,500 downloads, so we are 2,500 away. So please help and grow the podcast, because I feel this podcast is a podcast for the culture, and it helps hopefully enlighten and shed some things and questions you may have had. So my goal is to make this valuable as possible. So today's podcast episode is basically off the cuffs, meaning that this podcast, we're going to talk about appreciating your position while you plot your promotion. So you say, I had an episode a while back called this title, Appreciate Your Position, Plot Your Promotion. I will actually put that podcast number in the notes and you can go and check it out. And this podcast is a reminder because for me, when I think about it, appreciating your position and plot your promotion. So what does that mean? Well, first of all, let's say you have a 9-to-5 job. In today's economy in the US, it has been difficult to really find something. So if you lose your job right now, you can go months, even a year, and not have anything else going for yourself. So that's why I know some jobs can be very detrimental to your health. And I understand that. I would not tell you to stick to a job because just to stick to a job. But if you have a job right now, please appreciate it, because getting out to the market, it's going to be tough. And I don't know where you at, but I know here in the US, it's been very difficult to be able to find something. So that's why I'm saying appreciate your position while you plot your promotion. Now, plot your promotion should be, even though you have this job, have something else that you can do outside of this job in case if they come to you and they say such and such, unfortunately, we're going to have to let you go. You are not struggling and stressing to find something else. Because at the end of the day, these 9-to-5 jobs, we can sit here and say, well, they don't care about us. The job doesn't really care about what we do, or not necessarily what we do, but they don't really care about us, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if you were to lose, if you have thousands of people, let's say you work for a big company and you have thousands of people that's counting on you to make sure, let's say you're a CEO and they're counting on you and your decision making to ensure they have money, exchange for money, to be able to take care of their family. They count on you. So honestly, whether you lose that person, let's say it's a person that leaves the company or pass away, whatever, the show must still continue. One thing that happens in life is that time doesn't stop for no one. So I know, again, I understand the sentiment. These jobs don't care about you and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, they have a business to run. And the business can't stop because you decide to leave the company, or let's say you pass away, something happens to you. And I know if you pass away, you won't know, but I'm just saying for family wise. And I got the first experience of this. I would not say first, but I would say in the corporate structure, I remember someone passed away, and literally my manager at the time told me, "Hey Amir, we got to find somebody to replace them." Even though this was a person I knew for a while, and at least, man, let's take a few weeks to at least let's say to not just like rush and go find somebody else, but at least to, I guess, I don't know what word I'm really looking for, but to be like, you know what, we don't have to rush to go find somebody. At the end of the day, it was business. And I remember for the current employer I worked for, I remember this gentleman I was working with on a project. He ended up passing away. Our manager called us in for an emergency meeting, and then she announced that our good friend yada yada passed away. And hey, do you guys have any questions? None of us did because we were not really that close with him. Literally a week and a half later, his position got filled. It always reminds me, I appreciate where I'm at right now, but I am thinking outside of this. I am plotting my promotion. And it could be that you work in your 9 to 5 job and you work for a corporate job. And if you work for a big company and there's opportunities to move around to different aspects of the company, don't sit around and just stay in one position. And then all of a sudden you're getting mad, you don't like the job no more, you're getting stressed out because you've been in the same position and there's no growth. But if there's several opportunities within the company for you to do something, take that chance. Always appreciate where you're at, but plot your promotion. It could be that you have a side hustle outside of the company you're in right now. And you want to be able to make some money outside. Because again, if you live in the US, price of eggs are really up there these days. I remember growing up, price of eggs, a whole carton, dozen you can get for like 99 cents, $1, $2. Now a dozen of eggs is like $12, $13. The price have went up in everything. And one thing I'll say is, I remember during COVID, when those checks were being sent out, I told my wife, I said, watch, hun, the government never does anything. I don't want to get too political, but I'm just stating this out. The government never does anything where they don't, you don't know about it later. You don't see the ramifications of what they did until you see it later. And guess what? As soon as we got COVID, what happened? It doesn't matter whether it's Democrats or Republicans in office. What do you see happen? The price of everything skyrocketed. So you have to always understand those are things you can't control. But what you can control is your income. You can work a job, and I was listening to my wife this morning. My wife was telling me she had her review and she got a 3.25% raise. I recently got a 3% raise. But if you have your own thing outside of this job, guess what you can control? You can control how much money you make, how much money you don't make. And that's why it's imperative, I said this, appreciate your position, but plot your promotion. Because a job, they're not going to plot your promotion for you. You have to be the one to do it. And sometimes some people, they take the high road. And the high road could be, what they call corporate butt kissers, and that's what we call it. But to them, it could be, hey, I'm trying to move ahead. Hey, no harm, no foul. Do what you got to do. But you always understand, when they want a time to get rid of you, they'll figure a way to get rid of you. And it don't matter if you were Mr. Nice Guy and you've been with a company 20 years. When it's time for them to come and say, hey, we're going to hand you this, unfortunately, we're going to need to lay you off, you got to bite the dust and eat it. And therefore, that's why it's always good to have something outside of what you're doing. Because At the end of the day, we can sit here and say these companies don't care about us, rightfully so, but they got a business to run. And they got a business with thousands of employees who depends on their job. And do you want to be the one to depend on your job? You don't want to be that one. I can never fault a company for doing these things. I used to get mad when that would happen, but when I ran a business myself, I was a manager myself, I started to understand why it was done. Time waits for no one. You got to keep the ship going. You got to keep going. But plot your promotion. What do you enjoy doing? What do you like to do? That if someone did not pay you, you would do this for the rest of your life. What is it? Ask yourself these questions. Because at the end of the day, a job is not going to have those answers for you. So that's why it's important for you to have something else outside. If you don't want to be an entrepreneur, that's fine. But if you work in a 9-to-5 job, maybe instead of you just staying in one position, if there's plenty of other ways you can move up in the company, figure it out. But do it on the merit of because you're a hard worker. Don't do it on the merit of, oh, because I'm buddy with Senior Vice President John Cottrell. Even though we know it's not what you know, it's who you know these days that gets you further in life. If that's not what you want to do, that's fine. Because not everybody can be an entrepreneur. Not everybody can have a side hustle. I mean, everybody can, but some people just, it's by choice, whether they do it or not. But I know with today's economy, it's tough. It is very tough. And therefore, you got to be able to have other things outside of what you do to be able to live. Because when you get paid now, you can get paid $100K, you can get paid $50K, and everybody's struggling. Everybody's paying the same price. If you walk in the store, you're paying the same price for eggs that I am too. And now you have to think outside the box. My wife recently, today actually, me and her went to a fruit market. And might I tell you, this fruit market, we live in Dallas, Texas. And this place is, Dallas, Texas is about, we live in the suburbs of Dallas, Texas, but you have to go to Dallas, Texas for this fruit market. It was basically a fruit market. And it was about 35 minutes from where we live. And we got baskets of fruit, I tell you. Baskets of fruit that if we were to go to a store, a grocery store, we would have probably paid maybe $50 to $80, even close to $100 more. And we walked out with almost 6 baskets of fruits and stuff because my wife is into juicing, and we don't do any. Me and my wife, we're becoming very health conscious, and it's been like that for years. And me and my wife always talk about that. She's like, "Hun, you are so," that she was telling me this morning, "Hun, you are so picky when it comes to food." And I told her the older I've gotten, I've had to watch what I eat now. We don't really do a lot of fast food restaurants. I haven't had McDonald's or Burger King or any of that stuff. McDonald's has probably been 5 years, 6 years I'm going on. Burger King has probably been 2, 3 years now. I stopped eating cold cuts. It's been about 4 years. I haven't had a hot dog in about 5 years now. I haven't had hot dog. A lot of stuff I just cut out because it's a lot of processed stuff, a lot of stuff that's cancerous, not good for your body. So going to this fruit market today made me really realize that you really have to start thinking outside the box because everything is so expensive. And even if you make 100K, it's still not enough to live. So you got to hustle and make more money. If you guys have been following my podcast, the last 2 or 3 episodes, what I've been talking about, land, buying land. And you can buy land and you can use land for anything. You can use farmland if you want to have a farm. agriculture. I mean, if you're into the cannabis, you can get yourself, buy a farm, buy a land, grow your own cannabis, if, depending on the state. Don't 100% quote me on that, because go get the laws and understand, not go get the laws, but go understand the laws and stuff of the state you live in. Agriculture, if you want to grow your own crops. Residential, if you want to build your own home, cabin. Rural in, if you want to buy rural in. And there's various things you can do here with your land. Minerals, so if there's mineral like oil, gas, you can have that. You can own land. There's things you can do, and it starts there. A goal of mine eventually is to, in life, for us, me and my family, is to buy, I want to own at least, I want to own 100 acres of land. I put it out there to the universe. I want to own 100 acres of land. But I want to own land to be able to do my own agriculture, do my own farming, do everything natural. Because we just don't know what's being put in our, when you go to a grocery store now, you have to account for another 15 to 20 minutes. You have to account for, because you got to sit there and read every single thing to ensure that what is you're buying, you know what you're putting in your body. Because we just don't know. So not only is getting expensive because price of everything has gone up, income hasn't gone up. But doesn't necessarily mean you just, okay, you know what? I just need to go do something else, or let me quit my job. But appreciate where you're at for now. Please appreciate your position while you plot your promotion. Appreciate your position while you plot your promotion. So I wanted to leave you guys with this today. It's a very short episode than normal, but I just felt like this is something we all need, is a reminder, is that what you're doing is not forever. It's just for now. You can decide if it's forever, but that's your choice. If it's not, find something you're passionate about and do it on the side. Grow your thing on the side, grow whatever you're doing on the side. And if it comes to a point that company says, such and such, we got to let you go, you don't feel anything, because you spent your time plotting your promotion. I just wanted to leave you guys with that. I appreciate you listening to this podcast. Thank you. Much love.